from an educator standpoint, this is something that students will inevitably come across, whether it's within school or within their lives. And it's really critical to have someone guide you through that process of change, or someone to empower you to use those tools that people are worried about and turn that into an opportunity and learn how to use it to your own benefit, but also to everyone's benefit in an ethical manner. I think towards the beginning of last semester, we were definitely talking about AI art a lot. That was the first thing that kind of came onto everyone's radar right before ChatGPT. So the school had a couple like workshops. I started attending them. It was very interesting. We were at the same time kind of building this game project. It's a game called Trailblazer Heroes. It's a game made to uplift like Asian American and Pacific Islander heroes. So we kind of have these real life people featured as heroes in our card game. It was a project that kind of started from some other students within the department over the summer. And so that was just kind of on everyone's radar. And a lot of people from the games research lab was kind of starting to get more involved in that. In the beginning, it was a very small scale project, but we started like thinking a lot bigger, like, do we want to actually put this out into the market, maybe a Kickstarter, marketing? How are we going to get this into actual consumer hands? Because a lot of times the projects that we work on at school, it just kind of stays within school. So we wanted to really like uplift our mission of like reaching the whole Asian American Pacific Islander community, not just our students, and get that out there. And so we started learning more about AI art and how we could potentially use that to help build the prototypes for our game project. And it definitely helped a lot along that process. But with the like new launch of ChatGPT, people have been having much deeper conversations about AI and the implications, the ethical concerns. And so we started from a place where we were considering having AI art as potentially the final prototype, because that was like the best idea given the resources and time we had to make art for a whole card game with a bunch of cards. It would have been a ton of work to source artists or potentially hand draw those art. And so, yeah, we kind of landed on a place where we have all these final prototypes that are AI art, but because of the increased conversation and like awareness around the ethical issues of AI and the like sourcing of data that AI art requires, we decided that we would take all of our like prototypes and send them out to artists to have them use that as inspiration to hand draw the final prototype, so that we weren't putting out a project that was like finished with AI art. I've also used a little bit of ChatGPT for some coursework, just kind of helping develop small ideas or organizing your thoughts, kind of. Like, for example, if we have like a lot of class notes and all of that stuff gets really disorganized or hard to link together, it comes in handy to kind of like lay that ground base. And so for me personally, yeah, working on that project, it was a lot of long days fighting with Midjourney and trying to perfect little details of the art that is kind of based on all the previous art that we used to have access to in the world. So it was kind of interesting that like with this new tool, instead of me having to know all the different ways of drawing the art of the different styles, I only needed to know what that style looked like and find a way to integrate it into what the overall picture. And so I didn't really need the small skills necessarily. It was a lot more about the overarching creative ideology of that card. I think a lot of students also use it for coding assignments, which is interesting. It certainly helps a lot with just like sequencing and helping you with the detailed aspect of it so that you can focus on the more overarching issues of larger problems to solve. A lot of my friends will say like they use ChatGPT for like their coding homework or to help write some parts of essays that they can later rephrase. And so it really kind of like takes away the dirty work of a lot of what we do, and makes those like more tedious processes faster, things that are kind of just eye in hand, but you have to sit there and do for a long time. It just sped up a lot of that process so that you can focus on the real idea that you're bringing to life, focus on the real issues and the larger components of it. The instructor that I've seen use it the most is Jin. I haven't really seen any like large integration of it into a project, so I think that might start happening soon. Mostly right now, like people are using it to support their projects or as a tool along the process, but we haven't really I don't think I've seen anyone like literally take the AI and integrate it into a project or create a tool that like involves AI for some other reason, right? It's mainly been more of like a work process speed upper right now. I've talked with some students who think it's really helpful and a wonderful tool and they use it all the time. And I've also talked to some other students who, a lot of them which are artists, who really dislike the ethical implications of things like AIR and the data issues surrounding like, where are you getting this data? Are the artists going to get paid? And what does this mean for the future of their careers? And it's just, there's so much uncertainty in that bubble, it seems. And so people seem to be really hesitant to fully adopt it or fully trust in where it's getting its information. From an educator standpoint, this is something that students will inevitably come across, whether it's within school or within their lives. And the world that we kind of exist in right now has gone through so many like large-scale changes that these changes are really going to shape the future for the students we want to teach and how that affects their lives. And I think it's really critical to have someone guide you through that process of change, or someone to empower you to use those tools that people are worried about and turn that into an opportunity and learn how to use it to your own benefit, but also to everyone's benefit in an ethical matter. So yeah, I think it's absolutely like so critical that we all are also learning as we go, as these new things are coming out, so that we know what to tell like students and what we want to put out. The students here will graduate and go forth to teach, I guess. Like as they build these educational products, their target audience, who they want to make things for. If you don't understand that very well in yourself, it's very difficult to transcribe that to someone else, right? And so if the students here want to be successful, I think it's critical that we learn about all the new things that are coming up so that we have some background knowledge in it, so that when we go forth and graduate into teaching at schools or working at companies, that when these things come back again or arise, we have the right tools and we've like already had those conversations around what's good, what's bad, what works, what doesn't. We're not just catching up later on. It would definitely be a really big standout as like a candidate or an educator for the future, where it should be a skill set that most people should be like kind of expected to have if we're going into this realm, because the edtech industry has certainly already picked up on the new buzz around AI. So they're starting to come out with a lot of new products, new tools that involved AI. And so with all of that in mind, there's certainly going to be a demand for people who are well-versed with that product, well-versed with the technical aspects behind AI and integrating that. I definitely see it in the future as something that is similar to how students here all have a basic knowledge of like LMSs, Adobe, Unity. We all kind of have an idea of that. And so I think the demand will certainly show in the way the new higher processings go, or the way that, companies start kind of like asking for that as a skill set. It's kind of like the feeling of when they landed on the moon for the first time, or now we have this new big tool that we can use, and it kind of shatters your world for a second. But those are the times where humans are pushed to be the most creative and the most powerful. And so I think it acts as a really helpful like baseline for humans to continue creating. How can we be even better than ChatGPT? So what is it about me as a human that makes me more useful than ChatGPT at times? How do you contribute to a society that is unique in your own way, in your personality, that a AI tool is just not going to have? I think it's a really beautiful time to be thinking about that, and really appreciate ourselves for our humanness that ChatGPT just can't recreate.